Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. This is Amhara Media Corporation and you're watching our daily updates live from the studio. I'm Gaila Damu. Stay tuned. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs AMECO, along with Justice Minister Gideon Timotheos, has briefed the ambassadors of EU Political and Security Committee based in Brussels on current developments in Ethiopia. Ramet Adam reports.
The over 40% delegation led by Roland Kobia, European Union ambassador to Ethiopia, attended the briefing given on Saturday. The Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister and the Justice Minister focused on the conflict in the northern and its consequences, the government's peace efforts and measures being taken to address human rights violations in the pretext of the conflict, as well as the process of national dialogue. AMECO said the government's priority is to provide continuous humanitarian assistance to people in need in Tigray, Amhara, Afar and other regions. Furthermore, he recalled that the government declared a ceasefire to provide unhindered humanitarian assistance to the people by providing food and non-food aid. He also explained to the members of the European Union that the joint efforts of the government in collaboration with international humanitarian organizations have been successful in delivering aid to the Tigray region. The Deputy Premier further stated that the government is committed to providing immediate assistance for those in need. According to him, the government has undertaken various decisions that could create conditions in resolving the conflict in the northern part of the country, including lifting of the state of emergency and release of high-profile prisoners, among other measures. He appreciated African Union High Representative for the Horn of Africa Olusegun Obasanjo and European Union Special Representative for the Horn of Africa Anita Weber for their ongoing peace efforts. The Deputy Prime Minister reiterated that the Ethiopian government has no intention of escalating the conflict and other offenses. However, the TPLF is still preparing for another invasion by recruiting citizens. AMECO said the government is in the process of holding an inclusive national dialogue to end the conflict peacefully, adding that the government has been taking concrete steps to take measures on those accountable for human rights abuses.
African Affairs Director General at Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Fissa Shawal, told Ethiopian news agency that the government of Ethiopia is bracing to fight and stabilize the internal situation and also fight terrorism in the whole region. Ababa Burhani reports.
Speaking on the sidelines of the National Consultation Forum of Intelligence and Security Institutions, the Director General said terrorism is not a new phenomenon to the Horn region and it has been seen a surge in terrorist organizations and extreme organizations. He added that extreme poverty and the region's political transition, including the long stateless situation in Somalia, have created favorable environment for extremism and terrorism in this region. The nation's proximity to the Middle East and the Arab world has also an impact on extremists trying to flourish in this region. According to him, homegrown terrorist groups like Shene, TPLF and others, as well as regional groups like Al-Shabaab and ISIS are among the terrorist groups facing the region. Fissa said that the transition that is happening in the Horn region has created some sort of gap in ideology, outlook and the way we interpret life and communities. Ethiopia has a historical record and responsibility for stabilizing the region and fighting terrorism. He elaborated that in a bid to fight regional terrorism, Ethiopia is trying to work with Kenya, Djibouti and Somalia. The country is also working to normalize the internal situation by fighting homegrown extremists operating in Ethiopia.
There is a linkage between those homegrown terrorist activities with what we have in the neighboring countries, especially in Somalia and northern Kenya. So the government of Ethiopia, one, it is to fight and stabilize the internal situation. Second is to fight terrorism in the whole region. And Ethiopia has the historical records and the responsibility in stabilizing the region, in fighting terrorism. And we are successful in that. And we are resuming to play that role and we are up to the expectation.
The Director General revealed that there are linkages between homegrown terrorist activities with terrorists in neighboring countries, especially Somalia and northern Kenya. It is to be recalled that National Intelligence and Security Service Director General Temesgen Trune said Ethiopia will strengthen its role in fighting terrorism and extremism while addressing the National Consultation Forum of Intelligence and Security Institutions.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Ambassador Dina Mufti said that Ethiopia foiled the unwarranted diplomatic pressures of some international actors with strong collaboration among the government and the people, both at home and abroad, during the current Ethiopian fiscal year. Brown Work and tells us more.
Ambassador Dina told INA that some foreign powers had undermined all efforts taken by the government to maintain peace within the country. Despite all the coordinated pressures imposed on Ethiopia, especially during the current Ethiopian budget year, by some international actors, including the international institutions like the United Nations Security Council, Dina noted Ethiopians at large and abroad were stood firm to defend their nation. According to the spokesperson, that the government and the people at home and the diaspora community have defended all the politically motivated pressures in a devoted, coordinated and patriotic manner to protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the nation. Praising all the struggles of Ethiopian diaspora in defending their country at all costs across the world, especially with the famous No More movement, he said, their rally against foreign interference has empowered the country's diplomacy. The spokesperson affirmed that this fiscal year was a year that proved the fact that Ethiopia has a committed people and leadership that fight for the protection of the sovereignty of the country. He stated it was also a year in which members of the Ethiopian diaspora have demonstrated their readiness to stand up for their country in times of crisis, highlighting that it was a year in which Ethiopia took lessons in the field of diplomacy. He thanked all the countries that stood by Ethiopia during in need of support. Accordingly, diplomatic efforts will continue to communicate the truth about the current situation in Ethiopia for countries that were misguided by coordinated disinformation and misinformation to return to the right path.
Addis Ababa University lecturer Mohammed Habib said that Ethiopia and the Arab world should work to further strengthen existing relations for a mutual economic benefit. Bukradi Zaudu has the story.
According to the international law and relations lecturer, both have to correct negative perspective, unhelpful media narration and depoliticize issues and analyze their relations in a realistic and balanced way to build on the long-existing social connection, long-standing diplomatic relations, and the huge people-to-people relationship for better economic ties of mutual benefit.
A relation between Ethiopia and the Arab world need to be analyzed in a more realistic, in a more balanced way.
Mohammed further stressed that Ethiopia and several of the Arab states have established long-standing diplomatic relations and people-to-people relationship, including direct social relationships and family connections due to historical and present migrations from both sides.
Ethiopia's diplomatic relations with many Arab countries is as old as all these countries in Ethiopia. Over the last 30, 40, 50 years, whenever there is a new state, Ethiopia kept on recognizing that, and Arab states have been very much forward-looking to establish their diplomatic relations.
As a result, significant portion of Ethiopian families have got a direct relationship with Arabic-speaking families. The lecturer explained that the people-to-people and social relationship with Arab countries are larger than in other countries because Ethiopia has no colonial experience and direct relationship with Anglophone or Francophone countries.
Therefore, this shows you that both Ethiopia and the several Arab countries maintain high respect towards each other. This is one on the one hand. On the basis of people-to-people relationship, Ethiopians in large number have been moving to the Arab world for various reasons, just like all other countries. The same thing historically, until I would say 1960s, I would say. There used to be a huge Arab community in Ethiopia.
Mohammed said the existing overall relations need reinforcement initiatives to serve as a springboard to strengthen their economic ties for mutually beneficial ties. He stressed that investment and economic relationship is very important at this moment, but economic ties need to be reinforced by something else. The countries can take many initiatives for good cause and to further improve their relations, he pointed out, adding that, for example, starting good relations in the sports sector or hosting Ethio-Arab countries conference and improving media content can contribute to strengthening economic relations, including trade and investment.
Ethiopian Embassy in Uganda, in the Association of Uganda Tour Operators, co-organized a tourism workshop under the theme Ethiopia Land of Origins, your next tour destination, in an effort to promote inter-Africa tourism. Ramet Adam has the details.
During opening remarks, Ethiopia's ambassador to Uganda, Alam Tsahai Mesaret, said the workshop is aimed to introduce Ethiopian tourism destinations to Uganda tour operators and enhance cooperation in the sector. According to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, participants of the tourism workshop have tasted the unique and delicious Ethiopian cuisine and coffee. Representing Ugandan Tourism Board, Yognesh called for promoting inter-Africa tourism and urged Ugandan tour operators to discover Ethiopia and vice versa. She added that it is high time to tap into Africa's immense tourism potential. An Ethiopian senior expert in the Ministry of Tourism, Sisai Getachew, explained on his part what makes Ethiopia a preferred tourism destination. He urged tour operators of Uganda and Ethiopia to build business relationships and promote the region as a single destination. In delivering closing remarks, Tourism Ethiopia CEO Seleshi Girma reflected on the key transformation being undertaken in the tourism sector in Ethiopia. The CEO also expressed Ethiopia's keen interest to create a joint regional tourism capacity with countries in East Africa to compete in the global tourism market.
The US-based Tsahai publishers announced that the international book fair companies Big Bad Wolf Books and Sharjah International Book Fair will hold a book fair and sale event in the Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa during the last Mondays of the present day. Brown Workana tells us more.
Executive Officer Elias Wondimu told INA that the celebrated companies are preparing to organize the book fair in Addis Ababa for the first time in Africa. The Chief Executive Officer said that Tsahai Publishers has been contributing its part to improve the publishing industry in Ethiopia by publishing various books that depict the historical, political, economic and cultural issues of the country and bringing international knowledge. As part of its mission, the company has recently signed an agreement with two celebrated book fairs in the world with a view to enabling Ethiopians access various books at reasonable price. Accordingly, Big Bad Wolf and Sharjah have been making preparations to organize a book fair and sales event in Addis Ababa. Elias stated that over 1 million books are expected to be sold in 2 days with a discount of between 55 and 95%. Founder of Big Bad Wolf Books, Andrew Yap, and Sharjah Books Fair head Mohammed Noor have conducted a visit in Ethiopia organized by Tsahai Publishers to see the opportunities in publishing industry in the country. It was learned that during the visit, officials of the companies held talks with the government authorities, including President Sahle-Work Zewde. The heads of Big Bad Wolf and Sharjah were able to observe the fact that there are many readers despite lack of access to books in Ethiopia. Tsahai Publishers Executive Chief Officer Elias stated the companies have planned to supply 5 billion books across Africa and the Middle East over the next 5 years, noting that 1 million books were sold in United Arab Emirates few months ago. In addition to Ethiopia, the heads of the companies have held visits in Tanzania, Kenya and Uganda.
This is Amhara Media Corporation, Amhara TV News, and now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate. That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching and stay tuned with the rest of our programs.